Hey everybody, hi. My name is Samrad, and we're live from India, and we are on the Baseline Show India. We do this every Saturday at 6 p.m. With us, we have today the very special John Walpert, Mark. Guys, you have to come closer. I can't recognize you from there, but it's fun time today. Uh, getting some feedback.
Oh, okay.
Getting some feedback. I can hear myself. One sec.
Is that better?
Should be. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, Samrat, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah, I can. Okay, let me start one more time.
Oh,
Uh,
you're getting feedback because you might have your the YouTube on.
no, I have the YouTube dashboard on. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, turn off the sound on it. Mute it.
No, no, just the
That's why you're
dashboard.
getting the feedback.
It's mute already. Yeah, it's mute.
Well, anyway, it's great to see you.
Never mind. Yeah, thanks so much, John, for making it to today's show. We've been missing you here, so tell us more about what's happening at East Atlanta. You're there, and most of the baseline community members in the US have flown down, have taken the effort of flying down there, and what to be at a live event after such a long time, with the whole coronavirus situation and being locked up. Although I did see you attended some of the previous events as well.
Yeah, we've been having a great time here. Yesterday was a long day. We drove in from Mark and I
Yeah.
drove in from Raleigh to Atlanta, 6 hours. I was, Mark was driving and I was hacking on Terminal, hoping that my cell connection to the internet would die while we drove through rural Georgia.
Okay.
Um, and got the demo. If anybody saw the demo of Tree Trunk NFT yesterday, I thought people really liked it. The developers didn't poke too many holes in it, which is good. That's a good sign. And they had really good ideas for how to use it,
Okay.
um, which I will steal all of those ideas. Those are great. No, I'm kidding. And yeah, it was a great time. There was really cool people in speaking too. Paul Brody was there. York Rhodes. We had some AB trouble with Joe, which I will go
Yeah.
bash somebody about later. But he was there. He worked. Joe's always a good sport about these things. So he worked out pretty well. Um, yeah, Rachel, excuse me, Rachel from Coinbase was there, and she did a great job with the interview with Joe. Yeah, it was a really
Cool.
good event.
Yeah.
From Splunk, and I've got some real high hopes for Splunk. I think that
Mm.
I was always wondering why Splunk was so involved from the very beginning in
Yeah.
baselining, and now I'm starting to see it because really, if you're splunked, as they say, if your company's already splunked for your logging,
Mm.
um, you've got half of maybe even three-quarters of what you need to baseline.
Yeah.
Uh, so I could see them going all the way.
Mm.
Very interesting. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. Now this is something which I have to pick up one more time with Melanie because she and I we've been having this chat since a while, and I think we're scheduled to meet next Friday or something. But this is very interesting, John. Thank you so much for drawing attention towards that. So tell us more about how's the atmosphere, what's the vibe. I see Mark is
well,
also having
Corona
a lot of
doesn't do
fun.
great things for live events. I will admit that.
Yeah.
Especially in the scare recently, and here in the states, and we just passed 700,000 deaths,
Oh,
which is heartbreaking. But there were some intrepid folks that came. I think almost if there was anybody that wasn't vaxxed, I will be having words with them. But or at least already pre-COVIDized.
mm.
Um, I felt pretty safe. It was, there was a lot of distancing. It was fine. There's some really interesting teams. There was a law student and the couple. One was a law student, one was an RN, and they're not coders, they're not developers, but they've been watching the Baseline show since the beginning, and they drove all the way from San Antonio to come to the show, to come to the event to support the community.
Awesome.
I was like, what? It was the most awesome thing. I took a selfie with them and sent it to Joe Lubin, and he was delighted and a little freaked out. He's like, "Wow, you guys have fans already?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So that was really nice. Actually, it kind of warmed my heart a lot. And there was 3 developers from GM, General Motors, who were like, "Hey, we want a Baseline General Motors. It makes sense. We're going to talk to our boss. They're working on a project." And we're eating breakfast right now. It's 8:30 in the morning here with you guys.
Jack Gilchrist. Hi.
Hey, Jack.
Very excited to be here. Some really, really cool stuff going on, which John's talking about.
Yeah. Tell us more. Tell us more. What's the most exciting thing for you?
Oh man. Well, I mean, some of the stuff I'm hearing right now already is actually really interesting, just to see like the kinds of conversations that have been had in the past day from this conference, to see that this event is generating some actual advancements is really awesome to see. But beyond that, I did really like Paul Brody's talk yesterday. It was very energetic. Definitely hyped me up a little bit.
Like always, yes. So I've been following all the action online,
Same. But there's some great ones today. I'm really excited for all of the different like the Excel, SAP, those kinds of demonstrations, just to see how baselining really fits in with the legacy system. So
Super. And I hope the parties are as kick-ass as the things going on there.
One more time. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, I hope the parties are as kick-ass as the work going on there.
Yeah.
Tell them what you're building.
So, I guess that Baseline or Battle Line or
Battle Line.
Okay, yeah. So, really excited. There is a demonstration of Battleship using Baseline SDK, specifically provides SDK.
Hey, Samurai, do you guys play Battleship in India? Is that a game that you guys play?
No, I don't play that. But yeah, do you want me to play it now?
Yes. No, it's a kids game.
You can always play it with our Zero Knowledge version when we crank that out at the end of the weekend.
Why don't you explain how the game works,
right,
and why it's interesting for Baseline?
So, this is a game that is just 2 parties. So essentially, you've got each player has a hidden state, which is when you're playing the game in real life, when you've got the board game, you've got 5 different ships, and you place them down on a grid. And there's another grid that the other player has, and there's like generally a wall separating it, so you're not supposed to see.
And then you call shots, right? Like E4 by grid.
Right.
And then you say, and the person says hit or miss.
Exactly.
And then you keep doing that back and forth. The problem is, you got to, and I was playing this with my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, my 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
I should remember her actual age. My 8-year-old daughter, and I was pretty sure she wasn't either putting the pegs in the right holes when I called hits, or she was not, I could imagine, because she's 8, putting a peg right next to the Battleship and saying miss, right, when I actually hit.
Okay.
Because, 8-year-olds, cheaters. No.
Yeah, they can debate. For sure.
So I had to keep on looking over the top of the wall to check if she was playing fair or correctly, which of course breaks the game because I could see where all the battleships were.
Yeah.
So what we needed was a way. Now you can solve this if you just have a cloud, like a SaaS game of Battleship or a computer game.
because then the computer knows and is keeping track, and you've got basically a referee.
Yeah.
Most problems that you try to solve with baselining are trivial if you can have a referee. And the problem in business is, who do you decide it gets to be the referee? Gets to be a big political mess, right?
Yeah.
So now we say, well, what if I can be sure that I didn't hit or I did hit, but not know anything else about your board, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys are building that.
So,
Exciting. And
yeah,
I
so-
will plug. So in this video, what I'll do is I'll also plug John. I think we had a good demo or pseudo demo in the Veneta show that we did, right? So maybe I'll just plug in that video here, that part.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys should call it base ship rather than battle. I like base ship.
Base ship.
Base ship.
Base ship.
We could come up with a creative name.
Battle base ship.
You're always going to have a theater major come in there and
Oh,
we'll
man.
say base ship.
Oh yeah, that probably is.
Because he's like, base ship. That's just spaceship.
That's just it's a family show. Keep it clean. All right, so what do you guys find? Yeah, what are the what do you find interesting about the project? What do you how far? That's okay. How far are you so far? And what is your what's your approach?
Yeah. So, I mean, Ian, if you want to talk about the UI real quick.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have a pretty basic wireframe of what we want it to look like. I'm working on the UI right now. And from there, Jack was gonna start integrating. What are you working on?
So that was like kind of the first part that clearly needed to be done. From here, there's some tests that have been already written. So kind of my approach has been to try to deconstruct as much of the logic as I can to try to understand what's going on. And from there, just trying to fill in missing parts where there's stuff that needs to be done. A lot of the actual workflow of I think that there's like a manual turn-based system set up where it's just done by calling one player than the other. So like to introduce the mechanic for actually allowing the game to handle that itself instead of just ordering it correctly yourself. In general, we're just kind of looking to set up a really easy UI that people can play around with and kind of understand what's going on, and then they can go back and look at the code and really understand what's going on there. So mostly just at this point, we're still kind of deconstructing the provide stack, going through the different services, ident, NJ, and privacy, Vault. We're relying on all of those to actually accomplish that, I think.
There's a lot of developers out there in India, and they're some pretty talented guys
Yes,
there.
yeah.
And I know a number that are already trying to make the provide stack work, and it's fresh off the press, right? I mean, it just came. The drop came yesterday, I think,
Right.
for some of the final stuff, and they're working like crazy. They're very talented, but they also tend to promise some big things because that's what you do when you're a startup, and they work really hard to get those on time. So it wouldn't be unusual for there to be things that are not quite as easy as the easy button wants to be.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for people that are trying to use the baseline or the provide stack in this case? And is there a pothole that you could tell them to avoid, or something that they should know?
It's like saying how do you reach the easy button?
Well, I think as the days go on, there are more and more docs that are coming out on the Provide website. So 3 days ago, I was trying to research the privacy API, and there was nothing out there. And then
Now there is. Right?
2 days later, there's some documentation. So I think part of it is just going to be making sure that you're up to date with the docs and looking as these things are released, because they're internally developing a lot of these things and bring them out to us developers to make use of them. So while we can't kind of try to struggle through it and just guess at a lot of this, a lot of the documentation is starting to be provided. I guess.
Working through zero, so the privacy package has a lot of zero knowledge stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Mehran Shekri from SAP has made a baseline improvement proposal in the Blip repo for, what about cases where you don't really need zero knowledge to govern a particular workflow? You just need consistency checks. You really need, could you do it with less zero knowledge and something more repeatable? So that's one thing. You said you had to do a bit of learning to really understand the zero knowledge stuff. Do you have any tips for how to get into that if you don't already know?
There's actually this one. It's on Battleship with Zero Knowledge actually, but there's one paper out there that I read. When you watch videos about different people talking about zero knowledge online, a lot of them will repeat this analogy of playing Where's Waldo.
Yeah.
And
I don't find that to be terribly useful. The Waldo one.
I actually, it made a lot of things click for me.
Okay.
Once I kind of understood, like, you didn't want to show the entire picture of that picture book, but you did want to prove that, like, you could point exactly to where Waldo was without revealing any of the other people that you know are not Waldo. Just to provide that kind of individual pointer without revealing anything else. I think is very similar to Battleship, right?
I had a problem with that that analogy, because when I think about it, the simpler example for us in industry certainly is I can prove that I didn't charge you over the agreed upon price without actually showing the document that says that displays the actual price.
Right.
And that, to me, that's like a slam dunk. That's easy math, right?
Yeah, very interesting use case, John. In fact, this afternoon I met a friend of mine who works for American Express in the analytics division, and rather.
Sam, it's pretty loud in here, so you have to speak right up.
Oh, so sorry. So I was just saying that I met a friend this afternoon who works for American Express in their data science division, and I spent about an hour convincing him on use cases, which are ripe for baselining, even for a bank of that size. And these are absolutely ready use cases. There's stuff on the table which you could just pick up and do, provided that people understand and adopt the baseline protocol. So yeah, I think that discussion went pretty well, and I said that what, if things make sense, he's a non-technical sort of a guy, and he said there's a lot of technical jargon on the website, and I said, yeah, we're working on that, no problem. Let us deal with the dev community first. So yeah, there's all this conversation going on, and I'm also having a lot of super chats here in India as well. There are companies who want to fast follow what's happening in East Atlanta, for example. There is this huge confluence of believers of baseline and blockchain in general who've come down, and you guys are doing amazing stuff. John, tell us a little more about Tree Trunk if you want to ramp up the people. Now that it is out in the open, let's talk a little more about Tree Trunk.
Right on. I apologize for the background noise.
It's
early
okay
here, and we couldn't get into the venue. There's a really great podcasting booth in the venue that I wanted to use, but the venue's not actually open yet. So we're here in the hotel's cafe. I hope you can hear us okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, MacBook Pro. Good microphone system. So the Tree Trunk demo, obviously, I don't know if you have the I don't know if you have the link. If you go into my Twitter, Jay Wolpert, you'll see a retweet with the time frame from the speech on the NFTs. The demo actually worked. I was very happy about that. Nothing broke, so the demo gods were kind to me, and I was proud of myself for. Actually, we went through code review yesterday, and I found a bug, and I correctly identified where somebody was casting from one thing to another, and I was like, and I felt very technical again for a moment as I was useful in the code. And I was like, the developers on the team were shocked a bit. I'm like, oh, you didn't think the product guy knew what casting was, huh? So,
Okay.
I still got it. I still have game. So,
So which tweet do you want me to bring up? I can just bring up the tweet you want.
Huh?
I can just bring up the tweet you want. So which one do you want?
It's the one I think. It's the one I retweeted with the time index. I think I did it just this morning. With time in, I think it's like 30 minutes in or something. I don't know. It's 30. 30 is the number I remember, but it's on the Twitter. It's on the Twitters. But yeah, the
1 hour ago I can see stuff. I can see Future of Commerce.
That's not important. I mean, everybody should know to go to ethatl.com, and the live stream is there, and I think the recordings are there, so you can go back to the where we were, and I think we're all in a big long line on that live stream, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that was it just worked, and we showed the roadmap. And I can bring up I'll find it. I can bring up there's a public URL of the whole speech for the slide deck. So if anybody wants to know, hang on for a second. I'll find my Drive TreeCon. Yeah, here's the link to the whole deck. If anybody would like to have it, it is public. I'll put it. I guess I'll put it in private chat, and you can put it on Sam, right? Sure. And I'll put it on. I actually don't have access to the chat on YouTube, so. And yeah, it's going to get loud in here pretty soon. So we might have to tap out here pretty soon. Do you have any last questions for us?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So how and Mark has been quiet today. Mark, hey Mark.
Uncharacteristically quiet. No, I haven't been quiet at all.
Cool. So Mark, tell us more about what you've been doing, what you've been looking forward to at ETH Atlanta, and any final signing off words for people who are watching live.
The space. I would say watch the space right now, because right now you've got so much that really is allowing all this stuff to to bake and to build together. But having everybody in the same room, I think is just incredible, because it kind of creates its own magic where everybody. You're there to talk about it. That having the type of physical separation just doesn't give you. So I've actually gotten here and have run into a lot of old friends that I've known pretty much ever since I started getting involved in blockchain way back in the early times and stuff. And so it's like, hey, what are you doing now? So we do have, and I commonly say this all the time and stuff. We've got so many compelling use cases that can be done for baseline and stuff, but I still see the one big, huge elephant in the room that, seems to largely be passed over, which is healthcare. And
there's a healthcare team here.
And there is a healthcare team here. And
Consensus Health is good.
Yes, and yep, they are and stuff. And so, good to see that on there. But hopefully, what we want to have is healthcare, up on the main stage. Basically say, because right now within healthcare, there's so many different interactions between all the different stakeholders.
HIPAA compliance, COPA compliance.
HIPAA, PHI, COPA compliance. And that's really the big barrier, the perception at least, that doesn't allow the industry to really innovate in ways that they want to. They're going to build real value because we're constrained by this data privacy framework. And
so if you don't have to give up the data,
and the data stays within its its own its own HIPAA compliant box and stuff, through Zero Knowledge. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And the big thing is so much of the, healthcare workflows and processes are very slow and friction because of this data privacy. There's a hot up, it's almost like playing Battleship, or actually playing Go Fish, the card game. Do you have any eights? Do you have any keens? Yeah, and stuff. They're like Go Fish, and so you're not saying it. You're only revealing that needs to be known, which is why it takes 60 to 90 days to process a claim, and everybody's there's pain on all sides. I mean, you've got the health insurers, they want to have the claim paid, settled, and closed. All the providers, they want to get paid, so they can fund their operations, and the patients, they want to say, who do I owe, and I'll write the check, and then just leave me alone. And as long as those claims stay open, the less the more moss grows on those rocks, and you don't have that quick resolution of the obligations. And so much more in that, and certainly within a claim situation, certainly, but also that directly translates within clinical trials, and because again the same data privacy rules apply. And right now, investigative, our pharma companies are spending anywhere between $4,000 to $7,000 per participant per episode. This may happen 20 times within a year, and being able to keep all of the data collated and curated, and it's really huge. So
again, and if you found that compelling and needed somebody that really knows healthcare, insurance, and every other hard business out there, get on the baseline-protocol.org website. Go click on the upper right Slack icon. Mark Haddle is right there in there, and you can talk to him about those issues. So if you're a service provider, by the way, a big service provider in India pinged me yesterday and was like, what deal flow can you give us? And I listed off a bunch of deal flow. I said, I already gave those to companies that are sponsoring. So,
absolutely.
And that's a true story. Like just yesterday, got an email from one that was like, hey, we want to get involved. What kind of deal flow can we get? And I'm like, well, here's the deal flows that you missed.
There are more coming, John. A couple of things.
It's getting real loud in here, Samrat. Sorry, but just one last question. Where can we find you guys out there on the web? If you can give your Twitter handles or whatever that if somebody wants to get in touch with you guys.
Talented
developers.
You can find me on LinkedIn. I actually forget my profile name. You can look that up right now. I don't really use social media besides that, but actually, you
can be found on Baseline Slack, right?
Either. Oh, sorry. What was that?
You can be found on Baseline Slack, right?
The Baseline Slack.
Oh yeah. You can find me on Baseline Slack under Ian Brighton as well.
Sorry.
Brighton.
Brighton.
Yeah, Ian Brighton. Yep.
And then you can find me under JP4G across the internet mostly. So
JP4G.
JP4G. Those are my the 4 is an A, but those are my initials. So
I see.
Yeah,
now I know who's that.
4Gs or JP.
So we've been interacting on Twitter. But now I know him.
All right, guys. We can barely hear you, Samrat, but we love you, and we love everybody.
Thank you so much, John.
Out in India.
Loving back from India. Have fun. Keep hacking. Thank you, guys.
See you later.